Hi Cicero, thanks for meeting me with me today. I wanted us to sit down and go through to the main bar, sales budget together, address your concerns and try to finalize the numbers.
Hi Diego, thanks. I appreciate that. I have reviewed the projections and to be honest, I think some of the targets are too high, especially in certain months.
That's a completely fair, and I'm glad to you raised it. This is exactly why we do this area discussion and not just send a final version. Let me start by explaining the rationale behind the projections, and then I'd like to hear your perspective in more details.
Yeah, so
The first thing, the projections are aligned with the organization objective and of the increase of overall revenues across of the departments. The main bar is a key contributor to total revenue performance, and we need to reflect that in the budget. The second thing is we are expecting increased demand driven by planned initiatives, including the promotions, events, and extended training hours, which should positively impact both food and liquor sales. For example, in the liquor sales in February are projected to increase from around 70,000 to 90,000, and in March from 74,000 to 95,000, which reflects the expected impact for these initiatives. Third, other departments which the venues are also forecasting similar growth levels, so these projections are consistently with the broader business strategy, not just isolated to the bar. And then the fourth thing is the historical data shows that we have a capacity to grow. Because for an example, in January, the food sales increased around 53,987 to 65,000. This is around 20%. And in October, both food and liquor are projected around 90,000, showing the strong peak performance period. So the projections are based on your real patterns, not just an assumption.
yeah, I understand the reasoning, but I still have concerns. The price have only increased around 1.5% over the last year. And so the most of that growth would need to come from volume. Also, there is a new venue across the street targeting the same customers. And from what you have heard, the industry is slowing down overall.
Those are valid points, and that I agree they need to be considerate. But at the same time, if we look the stronger month like March, liquor sales are projected to increase from around 74,000 to 95,000, which shows we do have a capacity to achieve highlighted targets during the peak periods. Let me ask something. Do you think this issue is with the overall grow-up target or a specific month wherein the projection don't reflect the reality?
Well, mainly specific months. For example, September looks very high compared to previous years. Food sales increased from about 28,500 to 4,000, and liquor from around 14,700 to 25,000, which is very large increase and does reflect the usual seasonal trend.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, at the same time, we need to be careful not to reduce targets too early because that can limit the performance, the expectation. What if we focus and adjust only the month where the projections are clear and realistic while maintaining the overall grow-up target? For example, we could adjust September projections, bring the liquor from around 25,000 to close to 20,000, while maintaining a stronger month like December around 60,000.
That would be more reasonable. And I'm not against growth. I just want to targets to be achievable and realistic.
That makes sense. We also need to consider that any change to revenue projections will impact other budgets, especially labor, purchasing, and overall profitability. So if we reduce targets in a weak month, we may need compensate in a stronger periods.
Yeah, in that case, we should focus on strengthening performance during peak time.
Exactly, and that's where your strategy comes in. To achieve these targets, we plan to focus on increasing both customers' volume and average expense. For example, in using the promotional and events to support higher sales in months like February and March, where projection reach up to 90,000, 95,000 in liquor sales. Improve the upselling to increase average transactions value, running the nights to support weaker periods like September, and align staffing levels with projected demands to maintain the service quality.
That makes sense. I think the events and promotions could really help, especially if you focus on quiet months.
Agreed that, and we can adjust those initiatives depends on performance throughout to the year. All these strategies are designed to support our key organization objective, increase the revenue, improve the profitability, and maintain the strong competitive position in the market. So just to summarize what we've agreed, we will adjust the projection for a month that don't reflect the realistic seasonal trends, maintain overall growth aligning with the organization objectives, support performance through promotions, events, and operational improvements. I will update the budgets based in this discussion and circulate the final version this week.
That works for me, and I feel much more comfortable with the targets now.
No, great. I appreciate your input, and it really helps to improve the quality and the realism of the budget.
Oh, great. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Cicero.